Okay, now we're going to learn about the string class a little bit. Strings are not primitive types, they're objects. So a string is a collection of characters. It's actually an array of characters, but we haven't learned about arrays yet. So just know that it's a whole bunch of characters put together. They're stored in memory in consecutive spots. And there's a couple different ways to declare and create strings. If I say string S1, I'm making a string variable named S1, but I haven't given it a value yet. Then when I say S1 equals new string javelin, that gives it the value Javelin, all lowercase. I can also say string S2 equals Mississippi, just the constant string Mississippi. Or I can say string S3 equals new string Tennessee, and that creates a new string with a value of Tennessee, all capital. Or string S4 equals new string, and I don't give it any value, which means it's going to be an empty string, so it's got length 0. Now, the string class has a whole lot of methods you can use with it. And if you go to the API for string, you can see things like we can do char at. There's compare to, which we'll learn in a later time. There's a whole bunch of interesting methods in here. We index of is another one that you'll use frequently. Equals up here is something that you'll use frequently. Last index of you may use sometimes. Length is something that we'll definitely use a lot in this class. There are 2 lowercase and 2 uppercase. There's replace. So we're going to look at just a few of those today and how they work, and then you're going to be able to go to the string API. In fact, I'm going to put the API for string into the comments on this code here. So if we scroll over here, that string API is buried in there, so you'll be able to, when I post all this code onto Schoology, it'll be right there for you to link, but you can Google Java string API anytime you want, or follow the link to the API on the Schoology page. So now we've created these strings, and I want to look at how some of these methods work. What do you guys think? System.out.println s1.char at 0. S1 should be javelin. So what do we think char at 0 is going to do? Let's run it and find out. J. So it looks like the first character is position 0. And that's the way strings work. It's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what do we think is going to happen if we run s2.char at 7? Is it going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? That S, or do we start at 0? Turns out we start at 0, so we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it should be lowercase I, if that's right. Lowercase I. What about system.out.println s3.char at 9? Let's see what happens when we run that. Get an exception. If you look over here, string index out of range 9. That's because there are only 9 characters in Tennessee. So there isn't something at position 9. They're at position 0 through 8. So it gives you an exception saying that you're out of range. So if you try to call a char at for a position that doesn't exist, you get an exception, and that'll crash the program unless you do exception handling. How about index of? System.out.println s1.index of lowercase j. Run that, we get 0. It's what we expected. It's the first thing, so it's position 0. What about system.out.println s2.index of lowercase s? There are a whole bunch of s's in here. If we look at index of, Index of returns the index of the first occurrence. There's also a last index of method, but so the first lowercase s should be in the third position, which is position 2, 0, 1, 2. So let's run it and see. Position 2. The index of capital E, that should be 1 from S3. So let's run it. So we get a 1. Length. S1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters. So we get a length of 7. What do we think? How long is Mississippi? 11 characters. How long is S4? 0, which is what we expect because we didn't give S4 any values, so it's got a length of 0. Now let's try the replace method. If I do S4 equals S1 dot replace lowercase j with capital J, see what happens. We get javelin with a capital J this time. If we do S4 equals S3 dot replace capital E with hashtag. If we do that, then we get T hashtag N and hashtag SS hashtag hashtag. So works pretty much like you expect. Let's try system.out.println S3 to lowercase. All lowercase Tennessee. Let's try something here. What if we system.out.println S3 now and see, was S3 changed, do you think? It wasn't. And we'll look back here at to lowercase. To lowercase returns a new string that's the lowercase version of the original string. So it's not changing the original string. And that can be really useful. And what about now? What if we turn something to lowercase that only has one uppercase? If we try to turn Mississippi to lowercase. It just changes the one that's an uppercase letter and doesn't do anything to the lowercase letters, which is good. That's what you'd expect. So the basic idea here is that there are a whole lot of methods in the string class, and we will learn about more of them soon. But we want to make sure that you're comfortable with calling these. So I wanted to go through this at the start and just give you an example of how you use the methods in the string class. Thanks.